Chapter 49. Glimpse of the Sovereign and Seeds of Treason. Floating in the star-dusted abyss conjured by the blood priest's dying memories, Theo stared up at the overwhelming presence before him. Was this titanic, barely conceivable form the being the holy demon church worshipped? The myriad glowing turquoise eyes focused on him, the immense pressure intensifying as a voice echoed directly in his soul, demanding, "Answer me. What are you?" Theo felt a cold dread mixed with dawning understanding. The grace the cultists constantly raved about. It wasn't just fanatic delusion. This entity, the source of their power, was horrifyingly real. Then, the colossal eye nearest him seemed to recognize him. Theo's own form reflected within its depths. "Ah, it's you." The voice resonated, laced with an ancient weariness and something akin to recognition. Theo Ragnar. Theo recoiled, shocked. This cosmic entity knew his name? "I have been searching for you," the Sovereign declared, its shadowy tendrils reaching out, not just for Theo, but also towards the flickering system interface hovering nearby. It labeled him, with chilling finality, the blight of this world. Theo instinctively braced himself as the swirling, abyssal darkness surged, coalescing into a crushing vortex aimed directly at him. Just as the darkness threatened to consume him entirely, a brilliant, warm golden light erupted from within its core, pushing back the shadows. The light solidified, taking the majestic form of the golden dragon. "Lodbrok!" Theo cried out, relief flooding him. Lodbrok's voice, filled with concern, echoed back, addressing him by her unique term of endearment. "Oh, significant other." Appearing, Theo yelled, questioning how Lodbrok, her dragon form, had manifested here. The golden dragon turned its immense head towards Theo's soul form, warning him that that thing, the nameless sovereign, was not a being he was equipped to face yet. Lodbrok elaborated that even if Theo possessed strength rivaling the legendary Sigurd, she couldn't guarantee victory against such a foe. Theo was speechless, the scale of the sovereign's power almost incomprehensible. "So, leave this to me," Lodbrok commanded, exerting her power. Theo felt a powerful force ejecting him from the void, his consciousness hurtling back towards reality as he cried out her name one last time. He gasped, collapsing onto the cold stone floor of the basement, the transition jarring. He was back. He touched his face, feeling the trickle of blood from his encounter with the priest, his mind still reeling. What was that? Had Lodbrok truly been standing against a cosmic horror like that, all by herself for centuries? He couldn't fathom the burden. A weak, choked voice drew his attention. The blood priest, kneeling nearby, his form flickering and dissolving, stared at Theo with utter disbelief. How could a non-believer like Theo be granted a glimpse of the Lord's presence? The priest lamented dedicating his entire life, only to never be graced directly. He screamed in anguish, demanding how Theo managed it, before finally crumbling into nothingness. Theo looked at him. A god like that, he wanted no part of it. But the encounter had yielded critical information. The entity the holy demon church worshipped, the source of their aberrant power, was the nameless sovereign Lodbrok had warned him about. He recalled her solemn words. For 1,000 years, she had remained bound, fulfilling her duty to protect the world from its influence. And her heartbreaking admission followed. Because she had lost her heart, her power was waning. She wouldn't last more than 3 years. Theo's mind connected the ominous pieces. The Great War, instigated by the Holy Demon Church, would break out in 5 years. The guardian dragon, Lodbrok, would fall. Ed Troyven would stage his rebellion around the same time. These catastrophic events weren't mere coincidences happening alongside each other. No, he realized with dawning horror, clutching his head, they were all inextricably linked. A hand grasped his shoulder, steadying him. Evelyn helped him to his feet, commending him on his great work, though concern was evident in her eyes. Cleve approached, her stoicism masking any surprise she might have felt. She mentioned they'd hurried their sweep of the upper floors upon realizing one of the targets was a blood priest, her gaze sharp as she assessed Theo. To think he had taken one down entirely by himself. It was an impressive feat. Evelyn agreed, calling his accomplishment incredible. Cleve nodded curtly. By defeating a blood priest alone, Theo had more than proven his capabilities. Back in the main hall, they sorted through the documents recovered from the castle. Cleve sighed, confirming most of it was circumstantial evidence, useful but lacking the definitive proof needed to openly accuse Ed Troyven. Theo then presented the small, ornate chest he'd retrieved from the basement's depths, asking Cleve to examine its contents. Evelyn gasped softly, recognizing it instantly. It was the lockbox she had secured for Theo before the awakening ceremony, containing the secret trade logs detailing illicit dealings between the series Merchants Guild and the Troyven clan. She mused aloud, having wondered why Theo hadn't utilized this trump card sooner, realizing now the depth of his foresight. Cleve opened the logbook, her eyes narrowing as she flipped through the pages. She pointed to specific entries detailing trades directly involving Ed Troyven, authenticated with his official, unmistakable seal. Excellent work, Theo, Cleve stated, closing the book with a snap. With this concrete evidence, they could finally prove Ed Troyven was planning treason and firmly establish the Holy Demon Church's involvement. They now had sufficient proof. Cleve declared their next move. They would strike the series Merchant Guild immediately. Theo watched her, a cold determination settling in his eyes. Just you wait, Ed. It's finally time for you to be the one who gets crushed. Meanwhile, in a well-appointed office within the Ragnar clan's headquarters, Julius Ragnar slammed the preliminary report onto his desk, his face contorted in rage. He roared that he knew it, knew that rotten Ed Troyven would betray them someday. Across from him, Robert Ragnar, the enigmatic black dragon, calmly sipped his tea. He cautioned Julius against jumping to conclusions, stating that while circumstances were suspicious, Ed remained only a suspect for now. Julius scoffed, questioning if Robert took him for a fool. Robert countered coolly, pointing out that the very act of him, the head of Black Snow, sharing this highly sensitive information indicated the situation had progressed far beyond mere suspicion. He advised against wasting time on unnecessary speculation. Julius's eye narrowed, accusing Robert of having been aware of these developments, yet allowing them to fester. Robert deftly changed the subject, mentioning Theo Ragnar. Julius immediately became defensive, bristling as he recalled Cleve's report about Theo single-handedly defeating a blood priest. Robert declared Theo a talented individual, perfectly suited for the clandestine operations of Black Snow, and demanded Julius hand the young man over. Julius exploded, asking what nonsense Robert was spouting now. Robert continued calmly, praising Theo's perception, deduction, and ability to synthesize information, methods strikingly similar to Black Snow operatives, almost as if, Robert mused, Theo had prior experience. Julius forcefully interrupted, telling Robert to stop trying to justify his poaching attempt. He'd already called dibs on Theo, like finding buried treasure, and warned Robert to keep his grubby hands off. Julius called both him and OSA thieves. A faint smile touched Robert's lips behind his mask. It had been a while since Julius called him Big Bro. He remarked, a hint of warmth in his voice. A fleeting image surfaced, for young figures silhouetted against the sunset. Kyle, OSA, Robert, and Julius. Robert sighed, reminiscing how it felt like only yesterday the four of them became sworn siblings. Julius, however, was unmoved, warning Robert that his sob story wouldn't work and that he'd regret trying to steal Theo. Robert chuckled softly, telling Julius he still hadn't realized. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, stating it was only natural for a big brother to take things from his little brother. Before Julius could react, Robert turned, grabbing a bottle of expensive liquor from Julius's shelf, advising him to prepare something pricier next time as compensation. Robert then skipped away humming, leaving Julius sputtering unintelligibly behind him like a cartoon character. Once clear, Robert's demeanor shifted. He was relieved, he thought, that the white-armored dragon cavalry seemed free of moles. Few places had managed to stay clear of the sky dragon's insidious influence. Trusting Theo with this next phase, the strike against the Ceres Guild shouldn't pose a problem. His form dissolved into shadows, stating his agents should be arriving soon. Attacking the Ceres Guild today, of all days, Robert mused with a hidden smile, would certainly make things interesting. The scene shifted to the opulent Central Branch wedding chapel of the Ceres Merchant Guild. Inside, a ceremony was underway, uniting two powerful families. Knave Bacchus, the groom and second son of the Bacchus clan, stood proudly. Opposite him, Quodrax Ceres, the stout guild master, formally requested the betrothal on behalf of his family, presenting his fourth daughter, Lily Ceres, the bride. Quodrax declared the matrimonial bond formed, connecting the Ceres and Bacchus families by blood. Quodrax's eyes gleamed with avarice. Finally, his ambition was within grasp. Naven smirked, gripping his sword hilt. This was just the beginning, he thought. He would attain the name of an elite noble and make the arrogant Ragnars pay. Quodrax threw his head back, laughing maniacally, vowing that soon his great vengeance would be enacted.